Hello, friends, enemies, neutrals, the vaguely interested, and so forth. I'm gonna use this video to talk to you about something that has been irking me for quite some time now. You see, all throughout this summer, I have seen various television commercials for movie previews, and at least 50 of them I've had to have heard the phrase, "It's the best film of 2009. Oh my god, that's crap. You know it's crap. I mean, come on, they can't all be the greatest film of 2009. There can be only one. And no, it's not Highlander. But more importantly, what has been irritating me even more than that is that the films they are calling the greatest films of 2009, I mean, I'm looking at them, and based on, my understanding of the art of filmmaking, which isn't much, but still, from what I know, these films cannot possibly be the greatest films of 2009. Of course, then, the question is, well, which films are these that are being called the greatest films of 2009? Well, like I said, there are 50. But the one, it's hard to, there are several. They're similar in the way they are made. And this is why I'm kind of lumping them all together. There are films like Julie and Julia, Taking Woodstock, 500 Days of Summer. It's just that, here's why they're not the greatest film of 2009. It's because they draw their emotional appeal through the story from theatrics, the actors themselves, and the writing, the dialogue, and so forth. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, That's the hallmark of good writing and good acting. But it's not the hallmark of good film. And certainly not the hallmark of great film. So then the question then becomes, well then, what is the great hallmark of film? Well, the single hallmark of film is quite simply the utilization of very complex visuals, the use of lighting, color, shape, elements and designs of your set and even your characters, to force the audience to feel something. Of course, all art should strive to make their experiencer feel something. I don't care what the art is. I don't care if it's dance, music, writing, theater. I don't care. Really, it should at least try to evoke some kind of emotional reaction from its audience, to make them think, to get them to use the miracle of evolution that's sitting behind their forehead, basically. So, if that's the case, if that is indeed what great films are, to utilize that visual element to a masterful degree, then movies like, let's just use 500 Days of Summer as like an example to pick on. A movie like 500 Days of Summer cannot be the greatest film of 2009 because it inherently lacks the visual quality. It just doesn't have it. Like I said, it may be a well-written film, well acted, but without that visual quality, it cannot be a great film. Of course, the real question then becomes, well, what is the greatest film of 2009? Well, I got two words for you. Or rather, one word and one number. District 9. By far superior to any film that I've seen in recent years. And, barring any unforeseen gems in the near future, could very well be the greatest film of 2009. District 9 does have the visual quality. The design of the aliens as well as their technology. The contrast in the designs of the sets, where you have these very clean corporate offices versus the dangerous, disease-ridden, dirty slums that the aliens live in. You have the use of documentary-style filmmaking to convey a reality and a realness of the situation. You have, in the scene where Vicus is being taken hostage and experimented on because of his new alien appendage, it's usually, despite being a very well-lit room, it is somehow dark. The shaky style of the camera, very handheld, in their style of the shooting, makes it seem very scary and confusing, a reflection of what Vicus is no doubt feeling. That is the hallmark of great film. And that is why that is certainly one of the greatest films of 2009. Yeah. And I know what you're thinking, but Patrick, if those other films aren't nearly as good as District 9, then why are they being called the greatest film of 2009? Well, they're being called the greatest film of 2009 by movie critics. Movie critics are really nothing more than people with opinions. And anyone can have an opinion. Their opinions are usually biased. I heard one guy criticize the premise of District 9. Premise should really have nothing to do with any art form. So really, these people don't have a true understanding of the film, art form. I know that makes me sound arrogant, and I apologize, but I really do honestly think that. I mean, these people are not film scholars nor filmmakers. They have no true understanding in either practice or theory. They just get paid to make opinions. They have, but that's the way it's been for decades. No, the real judge, the greatest film critic of all is history itself. History that decides what films are worthy of remembrance by the general populace. Movies that are deemed memorable and important, worthy of study for future generations of filmmakers. Films that people in general look back and say, wow, that was one hell of a picture. And they all had that strong visual quality. There's not one that lacks it. Every film, from the German Expressionist classics of the early 1900s to Titanic blockbusters like Jaws and Star Wars, they all have a strong visual element to them. It is undeniable. And it's something that critics seem so easy to dismiss, yet despite being the foundation which all film is planted on. So that's just my 2 cents. Go see District 9. It is truly one of the greatest films I've ever seen, and you will enjoy it. It is not only thought-provoking, but incredibly entertaining as well, which is something that very few films can do these days. Something that very few films have ever been able to do, really. Either way, you'll have one hell of a time at the picture show. So goodbye, and give your $10 to Neil Blomkamp, because I want to see the sequel, District 10.